Frid och shalom vänner och välkomna till morgonstudion här. Och vi ska ta och börja med att ta oss till Holland. Och en person som heter Geert Wilders som har rört om i grytan ordentligt där borta. Ja, det blåser ju vindar över folkhavet så att säga då. 18 miljoner invånare har Holland, varav cirka 1 miljon muslimer, som skakades av det senaste valresultatet när holländarna röstade fram Geert Wilders som segrare. En vild Wilders. Och varför gjorde man det då? Jo, säger en del, att media inte längre förmådde övertäcka alla våldsbrott och statistik som kommer fram här i landet, säger en. Och det är mycket möjligt. Det här valresultatet chockerade holländska muslimer. Vi hade inte förväntat oss att ett sånt här parti med ett sånt valprogram som strider mot rättsstatens grundläggande principer skulle vara så stort, säger Muxin Koktas, chef för kontaktorganet för muslimer och regering, CMO. Muslimer utgör den största religiösa minoriteten i Nederländerna med en stor betydande närvaro av turkar. Wilders seger har särskilt väckt oro bland unga muslimer som är djupt oroade över det rådande politiska klimatet. Musab El-Abbasi Ahmed, ordförande för Muslim Student Association av Nederländerna, som representerar 40 000 studenter inom högre utbildning på nationell nivå, uttrycker känslan som besvikelse av obeskrivliga proportioner. Detta är en katastrof. Det här är tankarna som ekar genom huvudet på 1 miljon holländska muslimer just nu som vaknar upp till detta, tillägger han. Ahmed säger att det var skrämmande att få reda på att hela 1/4 av den nederländska befolkningen har röstat på denna politiker som vill riva moskéer, förbjuda Koranen och förbjuda kvinnor att bära hijab på offentliga platser.
Aan hen is wegwezen. Vertrek naar een islamitisch land. Voorzitter, ten slotte heb ik nog een boodschap aan al die moslims in Nederland die onze vrijheid, onze democratie en onze kernwaarden niet respecteren. Die de regels van de Koran belangrijker vinden dan onze seculiere wetten. En dat zijn er veel. 700.000 blijkt uit het onderzoek van professor Koopmans. En mijn boodschap aan hen is wegwezen. Vertrek naar een islamitisch land. Dan kunt u genieten van islamitische regels. Dat zijn hun regels, maar niet de onze. Dit is ons land. Niet uw land, maar ons land. Dit is Nederland.
bilden här, han heter Oliver Melnick. Han sitter med i en intervju över hans bok. Han tar upp drivkraften bakom antisemitismen. Och den är ju helt klart demonisk. Och den här är svensk-textad cirka 5 minuter.
What's the source of this?
Satan.
Satan.
Satan. It's, in my definition of anti-Semitism, I give Satan is 1 second of fame because I mention the demonic aspect or the satanic aspect of anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is the irrational and satanic hatred of the Jewish people and Israel, characterized by thoughts, words, and or deeds against them. And you see this over the centuries. And the question you could ask is, why is Satan so hell-bent, I should say, maybe not, hell-bent on going after the Jews? What does he have against the Jews? Well, if you look at the final chapter, what's going to happen, in the end times, which we're fast approaching, the last 7 years, known as the Great Tribulation, also known as the time of Jacob's trouble, where God is going to be disciplining Israel and chastising Israel. What's going to happen is that at the end of that tribulation, the Jewish people who are going to survive will call on Yeshua, going like, our fathers missed him at the first coming. He is the Messiah. We believe it. And they're going to say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Mm-hmm. Yeshua said, you will not see me again until you say those words. So what a lot of Christians don't necessarily connect the dots, but they need to understand this. Jesus is not coming back when all the Gentiles are saved and all the numbers. Jesus is coming back when Israel calls him to return. And when he returns, Satan goes unemployed. And he doesn't like where he's being sent for for retirement. It's not really Club Med.
No.
So he wants to stop it or postpone it. And that's what he's been doing. So he's been behind anti-Semitism for millennia. And he keeps reinventing or repackaging, I should say, repackaging anti-Semitism. So it comes from Hollywood, from academia, from governments, from individuals, from churches, from within the church. I mean, there's a case to be made for replacement theology, which is the false theology claiming that the church has replaced Israel in the promises of God. There's a case to be made that this is actually anti-Semitic, because it's basically pushing the Jews aside. And if you push the Jews aside, they're no longer in God's plan, then eventually we can get rid of them.
Yeah, it's certainly, I mean, if you think about a Christian they don't like replacement theology, they like the term fulfillment theology, but regardless, it's the same difference. It's the same difference. But, for them, we're not saying either that anybody that would be replacement theologians, that they're embracing the murder of Jewish people. Not necessarily.
No.
But it's interesting, though, that what people don't realize is that theology, the subtle nature of how it contributes to the full-blown or even the medium-blown ideas of anti-Semitism, for sure.
Well, I think they're facilitating the process.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can take you take replacement theology, and I think that I called it that in one of my messages. Christian Palestinianism is replacement theology on steroids.
Yep.
It's like making Israel Palestine, making Jesus a Palestinian, not a Jew, and then changing everything. I think that, I don't know if you ever had him on your show, but the expert on Christian Palestinianism is Paul Wilkinson.
Oh.
You know who he is? No, he's a British guy. He's he's usually at the pre-trib. He's the expert on that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but so there's what was the original question?
Well, we're kind of just laying the foundation, because where I do want to go is in your new book, The Normalization of Anti-Semitism, When the Oldest Hatred Becomes a New Normal. Let's talk about that for a minute, because in the book, how do you define normalization?
Normalization is, let me read it so it's not complicated. Normalization is the process by which something previously considered abnormal or unacceptable becomes perceived as normal. No, so normalization in a vacuum is not necessarily bad. the normalization of diplomatic ties between Saudi Arabia and Israel
Yeah, that's good.
would be a good thing. Okay? But normalization of anti-Semitism, that's an oxymoron.
Då tar vi en liten video med TBN och Pinto som förklarar läget just nu, som kom in nu här på morgonen.
This is day 57 in the Israel-Hamas war, and the IDF has resumed its operation to destroy Hamas in the Gaza Strip with full force. I'm Yair Pinto, reporting to you from Israel. The fighting against Hamas in Gaza continues, and IDF forces are targeting Hamas in 3 specific locations. The first one is Jabalia, and it is located north of Gaza City. During the ceasefire, the IDF, the Air Force, together with other intelligence branches of Israel, were able to identify the positions of underground terror tunnels and other weapon stockpiles, command positions, and bunkers. In the first day after the ceasefire, the IDF was able to neutralize some 200 underground terror tunnels in Jabalia and destroyed weapon stockpiles and other command positions as well. After the attack, 2 terror cells attempted to escape. The IDF was able to identify and neutralize them before they were able to hide again. The second location is called Beit Hanun, and in this location, the IDF was able to identify and destroy 40 underground terror tunnels. Hamas was shocked at the ability of the IDF to coordinate between the Air Force, the drones, the artillery units, the infantry, and the engineering branch of the IDF. In one day, it was able to identify and neutralize more than 240 positions of the Hamas terror organization inside the Gaza Strip. The third location is called Khan Yunis. The IDF began its operation in Khan Yunis by informing the residents to move south to seek shelter elsewhere, basically urging the civilian population to leave. After verifying that the civilian population of Khan Yunis received the message and checking with the intelligence branches of Israel together with the United States and making sure that Israel does not have additional hostages that are being kept in Khan Yunis, the IDF began mobilizing its forces and carrying out precise attacks from the air to target Hamas positions, militants, weapon stockpiles, and command stations inside the area of Khan Yunis, using special bombs that are very precise and hit their location without causing damage to the surrounding area. It's very important to understand that Hamas is operating from within residential areas, from within normal houses that people lived in only 2 months ago. It is not operating from a military base or from a structure that you can identify as Hamas. But that's what we're dealing with, and we're getting very, very good at it. According to Hamas statements, some 200 terrorists were neutralized in the first 24 hours since Israel resumed its operation to destroy Hamas in the Gaza Strip after it violated the ceasefire agreement. And now to the battle against Yemen. The Houthis attempted to carry out another missile attack against a US vessel in the Red Sea. This time, the United States had enough. And after neutralizing the missiles in the middle of the air, it carried out a combined operation together with the Israeli Air Force. F-35 belonging to Israel launched an attack that targeted weapon stockpile positions and other military positions belonging to the Houthis in the heart of Yemen. The United States covered for the Israeli airplanes that dropped bombs and neutralized the Houthis in their bases. After the attack, the United States and Israel realized that the Houthis were launching advanced missiles that were made in Iran. According to Saudi reports, 2 huge explosions were heard next to Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, and that 2 weapons manufacturing factories were destroyed together with a factory that was creating drones to carry out attacks against Israel and the United States. In addition to that, 40 Houthi terrorists were reported as neutralized during the attacks. In Israel's northern border, in a battle against the Hezbollah organization, which is another proxy of Iran, the fighting continued shortly after the ceasefire was breached by Hamas, when Hezbollah opened fire towards Israeli positions along its border with Lebanon. The Israeli defense systems, and especially the Iron Dome anti-rocket defense system, was able to neutralize all the missiles attacks, and no injuries were reported amongst the Israeli troops. In response to these attacks, the Israeli Air Force and artillery units were able to target and destroy precise positions, weapon stockpiles, and other assets belonging to Hezbollah, neutralizing dozens of its terrorists. It appears as if Hezbollah is weakened because the United States and Israel are preventing Iran to send additional weapons that will support its efforts in carrying out successful attacks against Israel. In addition, the people in South Lebanon do not want a war with Israel. Israel is still talking behind the scenes with Qatar, with Egypt, with the United States in an attempt to release additional hostages that are being kept by Hamas in Gaza. But this time, we are doing this while fighting. We do not want to stop this operation until we destroy Hamas. The goals remain the same: to release our hostages and to destroy Hamas. Please join us in prayer.
Ja vänner, då kommer det ett nyhetssvep nu med lite bakgrundsmusik och lite nyhetsbilder. Så hörs vi under dagen på hemsidorna och på Telegram. Elvor hälsar, Gud välsigna er alla.